everybody. Hey, welcome back to the Rage Select podcast. Sorry, it's a little disorganized around here at Casa del Rage Select this week, but I am Jeff.
I'm John.
Is the sound of my brains being blown out of the back of my head because
Literally every 5 seconds.
we recorded maybe about 8 minutes worth of footage, and then we were doing this while the Game Awards are happening, and John was like, hold on, there's a new Death Stranding trailer, and I was like, fuck this podcast, I gotta watch this new Death Stranding trailer. We got that. It's fucking Christmas came early for Jeff this year.
Yeah, it did.
Because I don't know where to start. I don't have any idea where to start. I guess let's start at the very beginning. Okay, so quick caveat. One, I don't know how many questions we're going to get to this week. And two, I'm just blown away. We're doing this while the Game Awards or the Game Awards are still going on. I don't really know how they could top what I've already got to talk about here, but who knows? So let's just jump in and say we got like a what was this, like 7 minutes worth of
It's a really long. It almost felt like a short film.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Death Stranding. Okay, first trailer for Death Stranding. What's going on? Second trailer for Death Stranding. What's going on? Third trailer for Death Stranding. I don't even know what reality is anymore. I don't know what people are for. I don't know how to use food. I don't know what air tastes like.
What year is it?
I don't know. This was so strange. Like, there are so few.
This is what happens when you let Kojima do whatever
I'm
he
like,
wants.
maybe we should get Konami back in here to crack the whip. No, this is so weird. Like, I don't think I've ever seen.
Here's the thing. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I'm so intrigued.
Oh, yeah.
More so than I have ever been for a game by Kojima.
No, but see, this is the weirdest thing is that, like, there are games where you could look at a trailer for a game and you could be like, that looks weird, but I kind of understand what that game is. That looks kind of weird, but I see where your universe is coming from, right? I don't know what the fuck. Every 5 seconds, there's some fucking happening in here.
Well, also, it's like every trailer looks completely different.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't even look like each trailer is the same game.
Yeah. I mean, like the first one. Okay, so let's jump into this one. We got a little bit of Norman Reedus
Monologuing.
Monologuing about there was a big bang and that was when life began, and then there was a second bang. We go to. I mean, like at first, this looks like the surface of another planet, and it's like Norman Reedus, and he's got this like kind of weird environment suit on. It's
Actually, you know what it kind of reminds me of?
What's that?
The environment of the first trailer, except rainy.
Oh yeah,
storming.
like the beach.
That beach environment.
Well, there's a lot of stuff here that calls
There's a lot
back.
of parallels to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that calls back to the first trailer. We've got like a wreck. Norman Reedus is with these two other people. They both have the bridges patches like Guillermo del Toro's character had in the second trailer. There's a guy that's pinned below this thing. They're wearing so they've got these two guys that are dressed slightly differently than Norman Reedus. They have a different coloring to their outfits, and they have this little like a detector thing on their back that's like going blip 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 blip.
Also, it's interesting because the guy that's pinned under the truck is aging.
Yeah, he's aging the entire time. There's this thing where Norman Reedus is saying, like, hold your breath.
Because some type of creature is coming by.
Because something's coming. Then it's really interesting because we see a bunch of, like, handprints, which, remember in the first trailer how the handprints started showing up on Norman Reedus. This seems like something like from another dimension or whatever, like whatever
Maybe
this
crawling around.
And then there's a dead person with gold on their face that gets sucked down to this inky black. I'll tell you what. I know I'm all over the place. I'm just gushing because we just watched this. I haven't had any time to even think about this.
No problem. You're getting live reactions from both of us.
Yeah. What I find really interesting about this is the fact that Kojima does not do out-of-engine cutscenes. And so it seems like a lot of what we're seeing here is happening in the engine that they're using for Death Stranding.
Yeah.
There's some stuff when this
The
body is
Decima
getting
engine?
pulled over, that with particle effects and like liquid effects that looks amazing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just like amazing.
Totally.
Yeah, at a certain point, we also end up seeing kind of these very large figures off in the distance that seem to be, this handprints on the ground seem to actually be their feet, like that's where they're walking and they're invisible. Norman Reedus is bleeding like red foil at some point. One of the guys gets pulled under by one of these things. Also, this guy is wearing what looks like the baby from the second trailer, attached to his chest. It's doing flips. He shoots this guy that's getting carried away by the black shadows. His little backpack thing is bleep, bleep, bleeping the entire time.
Yeah.
And then at some point, he realizes that he's been marked, and he tries to kill him. Oh, no, wait. There's another guy that shows up that levitates in that looks like much cooler than anybody else.
Probably Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, he's got like a cloak on. He's got his own little bleep bleep detector, and he's pointing in a direction. And we're seeing that there's like, then the baby's doing flips.
Yeah,
I sound like a crazy person just trying to describe what's going on in this trailer. There's a bunch of ooze. The secret of the ooze is here. This guy tries to kill himself, and he gets lifted up in the air. He drops his baby. He throws his baby in the ink. He's getting pulled up in the air. We get kind of a better glimpse of these large creatures. Oh yeah, he also takes out a knife because he can't reach his gun and starts trying to stab himself to death.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to want to get trapped by whatever these things are. Like that's a and
then Norman Reedus takes the baby and it activates his little bleeper thing.
Yep. And then we've got this giant, like all these, like we see some crabs and debris and stuff, and this really, really, really big figure. I can't tell if this one's bigger than the others. Also, just from the angle that we're at, it looks like it's got a gigantic dick, which is pretty scary. It also looks like it's got something like a hand or two hands for a head, and it seems to pull the guy in and then grab him, and there's like a black hole and a big explosion. And when we wake up from that explosion, then we get Norman Reedus underwater. There's like a big Cthulhu-looking thing at the top.
And
he wakes up, and then we go down his throat where the baby is now.
And he gives us a thumbs up.
And then we go out of his throat, and he stands up, and it kind of looks a little bit like he vomits up some little cockroaches, and then it's like he's standing there, he sheds a tear, there's a giant impact crater. And I remember in the original Death Stranding trailer, they had these characters in the sky. We see the same kind of characters in the sky on the other side of the impact crater. And then he repeats the line from the beginning, and then it says, Death Stranding. And what? What? What kind of game is this, John?
I don't know.
Are you going to shoot stuff? Are you going to sneak by things?
Maybe it's just going to turn out to be a movie.
Is it just a movie with Norman Reedus in it?
And weird babies?
And babies, and if it's a movie, I don't know what to even classify it as. It's like avant-garde French sci-fi surrealism.
It's going to come out and it's going to turn out to be like a VR experience.
Maybe. I don't know.
A 4-hour-long VR experience.
All I know is that it's real weird looking. Like I can't. Like this is one of those things. I hate to just be all melodramatic and stuff, but just like every time that I feel like I'm getting a handle on, like, okay, I can relate to this character. No, I can't. And
I gotta say, it's a kind of a nice welcome breath of fresh air, because usually I see a trailer and I'm like, I know everything I need to know about this game already.
Yeah.
Watching these shows, I know nothing. I know less than Jon Snow.
That's very little. That's very little, John. Yeah, I don't know. This looks so bizarre and so creative, and so I really hope that this game comes out. I hope that it comes out and that it's good. And I'd like to see. You know, it's funny because the second trailer had the soldiers, right? So some indication of kind of the Hideo Kojima weapon fetishization, military soldier bullshit. This was just like, I don't know what the hell is going on in here. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And speaking of having absolutely no idea, I told you guys it's Christmas for Jeff because we also got a teaser from
Software.
From And this tells us next to nothing.
This actually managed to tell us less than Death Stranding's trailer did.
Yeah, it's just the fact that this was like 30 seconds long in one shot, and Death Stranding was like a short film that literally left me more confused on the other side of it than I was going
Yeah,
in.
true.
So, okay, this is a new game from Software. Everybody knows, creators of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like we're looking at like a bone metal kind of we can't really tell what it is.
Something's like tightening.
There's like a cord in the middle that's tightening up, and it just gets tighter and tighter. And there's like some writing in the background, and then we get
the phrase "shadows die twice." And so a lot of the online theory rumors, people who saw this are like Bloodborne 2. It's got to be Bloodborne 2. It's got to be, because that's clearly one of the transforming weapons, and
the
this
trick
is
weapons,
the trick weapons, and this is Bloodborne 2. They're announcing Bloodborne 2 because they say shadows die twice. Well, the only game that From Software's ever done that hasn't got a sequel has got to be Bloodborne 2.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, we don't know that. There's nothing. So it's like to look at the trailer. Before we go into the thing that you're going to bring up in a second, to look at this trailer,
we already recorded this part, folks.
What we see is that the mechanism that you described.
Yeah.
There's like a screwdriver or a chisel like stabbed into this like parchment in the background. That also looks like it's covered in blood, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's got this weird writing, and at first, given the angle that the video is in, it looks like almost like a weird kanji type thing where it's written from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Each line. However, it's like I was looking at it, if you actually flip it on its side, it actually looks like someone's journal upside down and at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be gibberish English scribbles of someone's journal as well. I don't know.
I'm wondering if anybody has actually gone and looked at that and seen if there's like, okay, yeah, I'm not really getting anything out of there. I'm sure it'll come in the next few days. But like, if this is kanji, it seems like the sort of thing that somebody might be able to actually read.
Yeah.
See, because this character right here doesn't look like
writing.
I agree. Some of it looks an awful lot. I don't know though, but it's weird because Bloodborne is very much kind of Victorian.
Yeah.
And a lot of Miyazaki's a lot of his stuff is based on his own interpretation of Western fantasy, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's what Dark Souls, that's what Bloodborne, that's what those games are, is kind of, and I actually really like that as a thing that we see a lot, which is kind of Western fiction through an Eastern lens, essentially. Or that's probably not entirely politically correct, but you guys know what I mean. I don't know. This is really interesting because I feel like this could be anything.
It really could.
So the one
it could be an entirely new property.
I really hope that it is an entirely new property, because the last time that we got a new property, we got Bloodborne, and Bloodborne, I enjoyed Bloodborne far more than I enjoyed it. For me, it's like Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, and then like, Dark Souls 2, blah, 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 blah. Things go past that. But like Bloodborne is number 2 after. Like, I liked Bloodborne more than Dark Souls 3 because it was a breath of fresh air. It was something that was new. It wasn't just an iteration on the same concept. I'm a real sucker for that stuff. But the reason that I feel like it might not be Bloodborne is because of this tagline of Shadows Die Twice. Now, it is true that Bloodborne needs a sequel, but Shadow isn't really a big
It's
component.
not a Bloodborne. Yeah, it's not. Shadows are not like. Yes, there are characters.
There are the shadows of Yharnam. Yeah,
but those are a very small thing, and that's like a small part of the game.
Yes,
not something that you would care if they died twice.
Well, yeah. It's also, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of implications here. I can see why people would think it was Bloodborne. One part of me wonders whether it's Otogi with the Japanese influence, with the kanji in the background, whether it could be Otogi. Also, when we were doing this, I thought maybe Shadow Tower, because there's an old From Software game called Shadow Tower that was a PSX game. There was a sequel to it on the PS2, but that was never actually released in the West, and it was a Shadow Tower subtitle. It wasn't Shadow Tower 2. It was like Shadow Tower Mask of the Phantasm, right? Or some, so if this was like Shadow Tower 2, because as we talked about before, From Software is also on the list of
developers
for the PlayStation VR, and we haven't seen or heard anything from them about what that will be.
Yeah.
And see, people might even think that I'm just like From Software. I'm not a big fan of Armored Core. Yeah. And I haven't ever played a Togi, and there's stuff that From Software has made that I'm not like the biggest fan of. But I would really like it if this was something like a Shadow Tower or a Kingsfield, something that can be played in first person. Like, I like Bloodborne, but I really want Miyazaki and company to be able to just kind of break out of that mold. I don't want them to have to worry about satiating Dark Souls fans every time they make a game, because that would limit you, right?
It's the same reason we're getting Death Stranding now. It's we didn't want Kojima to make Metal Gear Solid forever. We wanted him to make something else.
Yeah. And from what we've seen, I'm really happy with that. And again, from Bloodborne, I'm really want him to do his own thing. Now, there is a good possibility that it's just Bloodborne 2.
Yeah, it is a good possibility.
And boy, howdy, if that's the case and it's another PS4 exclusive, like, damn, man. Like, there's never been a better time to have a PlayStation 4.
Me and Jeff, we're going to have another full playthrough.
Oh, yeah. John's like, you're like in the... You're like 3 days from retirement.
Yeah.
This Dark Souls Patreon franchise. Well, it's funny because last week we reported that Demon Souls multiplayer servers are getting shut down in February, and I'm like, you know what that means? We gotta get through Demon Souls before they shut the servers down forever. John, you want a clean sweep? You want the platinum trophy, right? You want 100% on all? No. But anyway, again, couldn't be happier. I tell you what. Any one of of these first 3 items, that's right, I said 3 items. There are 3 things to talk about here. Any one of these 3 things would have been just a day to live in infamy, to remember. This is better than E3.
Yeah.
These 3 things are better than E3.
And we've only talked about 2 of them, right?
That's correct. There's a third thing to talk about. There's a third announcement. The third thing.
So far that we know of. For all we know, while we're talking 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th announcements could be happening.
No, there's a third. The number 3 is important. Those sons of bitches. Reggie, you beautiful bastard. Bayonetta 3!
Not only Bayonetta 3 being released on the Switch, but we're also getting Bayonetta 2 released on the Switch.
With Bayonetta 1.
Which comes with Bayonetta 1 if you buy it as a download for the Switch.
Yep.
So...
Yep.
Holy shit, people.
Yes. But Bayonetta 3.
If you don't have a Switch, you need to fucking get one now.
Hey, man, Valkyria Chronicles, Bayonetta. I'm like, some of these old franchises that nobody loved, but us, like, deep fans.
Yeah.
This is why when EA is like, well, people aren't interested in single-player experiences. They only want games as a service. And I'm like, fuck you. There's a new Valkyria Chronicles and a new Bayonetta coming. Just eat my balls, Electronic Arts. And I'm so much more excited for Bayonetta 3 than I am for fucking Anthem. I'm so much more excited for Death Stranding than I am for, like, the Last Jedi DLC for Battlefront 2. I'm just so excited for all this stuff. And that's one of those things that I can't help but crap on these companies a little bit, because they're just like, well, we got to do this. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do that thing. You quit doing the thing.
Fuck it, release it on the Switch.
Yeah.
Single player.
Hey, you know what? I would like to say this as many times as I can, John. I spent a lot of time during the Wii and the Wii U era shitting on Nintendo. They're doing it right. They're doing it right on the Switch. I even heard a rumor that they're going to put out Dark Souls on the Switch.
I had to point out to Jeff here that it's possible that rumor may have actually started because of an article that someone did that said games I feel should be remastered or re-released on the Switch.
Yeah.
Because, so far, a lot of the best games on the Switch that are not direct Nintendo, like that are not Mario Odyssey and not Zelda Breath of the Wild,
right?
Or not Splatoon 2 or anything that's first party Nintendo,
sure,
have been remastered. And there are the games that people are like Skyrim, and Doom, and fucking whatever.
Yeah.
They're games that people
LA
are like,
Noire.
LA Noire. Like if they announce Red Dead Redemption for the Switch, people would lose their fucking shit.
You guys heard it. John's confirmed that Red Dead Redemption is coming to the Switch in 2018. So,
but I'm just saying, it's just like if they were, the article was saying like these are the games I want them to re-release on the Switch, and it was like BioShock and one of the big one that he mentioned was Dark Souls, and he's like, I'm not even talking about Dark Souls 2 or 3. I'm talking about original OG first Dark Souls.
They could make quite a bit of money remastering Dark Souls at this point, and putting it on current consoles. But
anyway, putting it on the fucking Switch would be like huge.
Yeah. But anyway, I just Bayonetta. I'm so glad that poor Bayonetta has received some love and attention, even if it took way too long. Because I mean, you know what, people. The original Bayonetta was a great game. Bayonetta 2, a little bit less, but I really enjoyed it. And hey, they're getting a third one, so great. I hope it's as bug nuts as the first two. But you know what? We gotta pick up the pace here. We got fucking days of trailers. There was also a Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC trailer. I feel like this is the one where it's like, and it's out today.
Yeah, it was. It was the Nintendo was like, also, you can go download it right now.
Yeah, this is the one that gives you the ability to basically play as each one of the champions. I'm actually kind of interested
in their stories,
in this.
like 100 years ago, about how they were defeated or whatever.
Yes, I actually am more interested because the last one was just like that challenge dungeon and some new, like there was a new item that you got. But this is cool. This is actual story stuff, and I'm actually really interested in maybe checking this out. I don't know. I might have to actually to plug my Breath of the Wild back in and take a look. I don't know if I can. There's so much other shit going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Also, I got to give you your copy back.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I mean, this isn't like the first one. This is kind of an anticlimax after those.
Well, I think the big thing that the takeaway, and it wasn't shown in the trailer from what I understand or from what I saw.
Yeah.
But apparently, Link gets a motherfucking motorcycle.
Why?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
Is it like a weird Hyrulean motorcycle?
It looks like a horse.
It looks like a horse?
Yeah.
Was it that horse from the trailer?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a motor, like it's a mechanized like thing, and yeah, it's
okay. So it's just like a horse, except it's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's all weird ancient technology.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I don't know that that's really what I wanted out of maybe like a thing to let you repair your weapons. That would be a thing that I would like in Breath of the Wild. From there, let's move on. We got another world premiere trailer. This is from Campo Santo, the makers of Firewatch, in the Valley of Gods.
Now, see, this actually, I'm somewhat interested in this. I do feel like this trailer went on a little bit too long and showed a little bit too much of it.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't really need to do much to sell me on the game.
Yeah.
Because I am a huge nut for like Egyptian, like that Valley of the Gods, like that time period we're discovering tombs and
okay.
That's something I was.
And you're
really
not interested in Assassin's Creed Origins?
No, I am. I am very much interested in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Okay.
I just haven't bought it because I've been broke and because of just.
Fair enough. You should just borrow it from me. I'm probably not going to play it
some
anymore.
point.
Yeah. Anyway, but this is okay. So it's weird. I'm not as big of a fan of Firewatch as other people, and so this kind of turned me off. Like, I mean, I'll be interested in playing it, but
it's a nice little song that played over it. But I felt like it kind of went a little bit too long.
But it also just seems like I don't have any idea why these characters are doing anything or what they're doing, or I mean, it's just kind of a bunch of people rolling around in a tomb, kind of looking. There's a part at the very end.
Surveying.
Yeah, it looks like there's some puzzle elements to it, but
well, that's a camera.
Oh, okay.
That she literally just put film in a camera.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I didn't like the way that Firewatch, where you didn't actually do anything, where they teased at this mystery,
and
then there was no mystery. It was just the mystery was a kid accidentally died, and then his dad had moved into a cave. Like, I didn't like a lot of I liked what they were doing with Firewatch. I just didn't like the fact that they teased me with something that I was more interested in than the main storyline, and then it turns out that what they teased didn't lead anywhere.
I feel like when a lot of games were making that that kind of thing where they kind of made you think it was one thing, but then it turned out to be something more mundane.
Yeah,
like what was that? Gone Home kind of did that.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I fucking love Gone Home, but yeah, it kind of what it teased you with was a little bit more, or where your brain went with the teases was a little bit more interesting than what it actually ended up being.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between Gone Home and Firewatch, was that I was actually a little bit more interested in for once in the teenager coming of age story, whereas in Firewatch it was like, oh, there's a grand conspiracy that somebody is doing, that like this government that's watching people are doing some things, and there's something weird going on. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then they were just like, haha, not really. And I was like, oh, well, I wasn't interested in the rest of the game. Like, that was the thing that was keeping me going. So I don't know. It looks fine. Also, from this trailer, I feel like there's not a lot of information about what exactly you're going to be doing in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of, I don't know, but it's 2019. They got plenty of time to get us all hyped up. From there, we got a couple of PSVR announcements. One was, I'm really excited. Accounting is coming to the PSVR. That's the Squanch Games VR that's already out on the Vive from the. Is that already out on the Vive?
Yes.
Okay, from the Rick and Morty developers, or is it Dan Harmon?
I don't know. Like I thought about it. It actually may be a different person. I think it may just be the guy who does the voice of Rick and Morty.
Okay, but this looks berserk.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember what it was. Like, it could be the guy who actually did Adventure Time.
Okay.
Or it could be Dan Harmon. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it looks crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This looks absolutely insane, and I really would like to play it. There's just like, it's a montage of insanity. Yes, complete and total insanity.
Strangely enough, makes more sense than the trailer for Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand what's going on here. I don't understand anything about Death Stranding. So yeah, this is going to be coming out, I believe, next year on the PSVR.
It's Accounting Plus.
Accounting Plus. I'm looking forward to playing it, and it looks real good. Also, I don't know. So there's a game on the PSVR called Job Simulator that I don't think that you and I have both played, but that we've never actually made a video about.
Yeah, I played it, and it's on Vive and everything else as well. It's kind of one of those standard like VR mini games, kind of cute, very.
Yeah, it's by a local company called Alchemy Labs, and it's basically the content. The point of the game is that you are transported to different quote jobs by these robots, like in the future.
Yeah.
That are kind of giving you what they think jobs were like back in the old days.
Yeah.
So if you've seen our Dead Hungry, it's kind of like that, where you're tasked with doing things, but it's not doing the same thing over and over again. It's like the first one starts you out in an office, and it's like you have to make some copies and do some stuff, but it's all wrong and humorous because the robots don't really understand how people stuff works.
Yeah, like you can actually put like a stapler in the copy machine or in the like the copier, and then like it'll print out another stapler,
and then more staplers will come out. Yeah.
It's a very cute game. It's a good first VR game. I feel like it's one of those if you want someone to to kind of just play around, and also there's tons of stuff that you can do that like the story of it won't tell you to do, that you can do and discover how to do.
Yeah, you can just screw around and do. This is Vacation Simulator, which looks like the same thing, except instead of jobs, it's going to be in various vacations. Looks relatively charming. Should be coming out next year. I don't know. I'll play it.
Yeah.
I mean, Job Simulator, you're right in that Job Simulator is a great first impression. I showed my girlfriend Job Simulator, and I haven't been able to get her to play any other VR game since then. So, all right. And then this one so far is kind of the more generic World War Z game. So this is based on, it looks like based more on World War Z, the book. No,
it looks
based more on the movie. It looks like a hybrid between the two, because some of the stuff they're talking about with like the winter slowing them down, that's from the book. That never happened in the movie, and we thought the military would stop them. But then the way the zombies in this game look, it looks like very much from the movie, of them all kind of tripping over each other.
Well, even the title looks like it's from the movie.
Yeah, going up walls and stuff. I got to kind of ask, like, from this trailer, in 2017, you got to bring more than just lots of zombies to make us interested. I mean, we've had Dead Rising, we've had we've got that new motorcycle
Gone Again or something like that. I don't know.
Coming out that has these same kind of zombies in it. I don't know. This looks very generic. Like I'm not feeling it from
I was like, did anyone ask for this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone thought.
I think that this is probably one of those things where somebody that the people who own the rights to it wanted there to be a video game, but it just took too long to get that game and put it out. So it's definitely not. Current. So, all right. Well, there's some more stuff here, but we're going to move back to the other stuff that happened this week, and then we're going to come back to more game award stuff after the break. So, next up, this was going to be our lead story until this just seems positively mundane in comparison now, since we've had fucking Death Stranding.
Good way for me to start the week, man.
Yeah. Mega Man 11 has been announced.
I am so excited.
Are you?
Yes.
Why?
I am a fan of the Blue Bomber.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's so. Tell me your feelings, John, about how this is the first time outside of maybe Mega Man X, but that's like a different franchise. But this is the first time that I feel like a base numbered Mega Man game has an art style that's not pixel art, right? Because they've all been relatively pixel art.
Second time for a standard base game, because there was a Mega Man Powered Up, which was also 3D.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
On the PSP.
But this is the first time that there's been, because that was just a remake of the first game, right?
Yeah, that was a remake of the first game.
So this is the new one.
This is the first completely new game, which I'm excited for. I actually like that, because I actually didn't like the fact that Mega Man 9 and 10 were
kind of sticking to the NES.
Yeah, especially considering Mega Man's what was it, 4 through 8?
Yeah,
all used better graphics, like the actual pixels improved because they moved them to the Super NES and the PlayStation and stuff like that. Like they weren't just that old NES pixel thing. They moved back to that for 9.
Yeah.
So I always felt like I was always a little annoyed by that.
I can say that, boy, this makes Mighty Number 9 look like a chump.
Yeah.
Makes Mighty Number 9 look like a big, fat fucking chump, because already this looks closer to like what we were promised in the early days of Mighty Number 9 as opposed to what actually came out. Because it does look very nice. Like in 1080p, you got these very nice kind of rendered backgrounds, nice like kind of 3D models of Mega Man and these enemies running through. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of the Mega Man franchise, but I mean, it does look real cool.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm also excited about the other things that they announced on the live stream that they did for this, which is that Mega Man Collection 1 and 2 are coming out for the Switch next year, and that also Mega Man X 1 through 8 are getting released on new consoles, and by that they mean PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Okay.
Now, they didn't say Mega Man X Collection. They used the words Mega Man X 1 through 8.
Okay.
Or 1 through 8. Which makes me wonder, are they going to release all of those individually?
Probably. It is still Capcom after all. Yeah. Let's not, just as I keep harping on EA, let us not forget that Capcom has pulled some boneheaded stupid shit in the past.
This is true. So, I mean, but I'm excited for that because I've been wanting them to re-release the Mega Man X games on a new console.
I think I only ever played the first one. I don't think I ever played the second one.
I played 1, 2, and 3. And
I remember the first one you can get a Hadouken at some point, right?
I played Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3, and then I never played any of the others after that. But I've always wanted to.
John, I just had a great idea.
Okay,
let's get Reggie on the phone. Bear with me here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Nintendo Switch exclusive, Killer 8.
He might be for it.
I don't think Suda's. They're putting World of Tanks in Let It Die, so I think Let It Die is probably moving along on its own pace. I think Suda 51 needs a new thing, and I want to play a new Killer 7 game. Damn it. Because that game was terrible, but it had a really weird storyline, and I want more games.
But yeah, so I'm excited for this. No, I understand. And all of this is in the fact that next year, 2018, is the 30th anniversary of Mega Man.
Yeah, there's a little 4-minute video that they put out as well that's kind of got Mega Man jumping through.
Which is really great because when the 25th anniversary of Mega Man came out, Capcom forgot he existed, which also resulted in Kenji Inafune quitting the company.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're Capcom... I don't know what to think about Capcom as a company because sometimes they do interesting stuff and sometimes they make Dead Rising.
In all honesty, I feel like there's a turnaround with the company. Like I feel like Resident Evil 7 was kind of the change.
Oh yeah,
where it's going towards the better, and I feel like Dead Rising 4 may have been a holdover from before.
Okay,
that. Don't get me wrong. If there are people that probably like that game, it's great. It's fun for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as the other Dead Rising game, Dead Rising 2, I would say.
Okay. I love Dead Rising 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dead Rising 3 was amazing.
Oh yeah, no, Dead Rising 3 is amazing. But I just
can't. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good game if you played it and you liked it. Dead Rising 4 is fine, but I feel like Resident Evil was kind of the change. Something changed. Something had to have changed at Capcom.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
because they're not just HD releasing every old property they have.
Yeah, they're actually like trying to make good games.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, well, next up on the list, speaking of good games, how about Grand Theft Auto 5? That seems like a really good game.
That's been out forever.
We just got a trailer for the Doomsday Heist, new DLC for Grand Theft Auto. This trailer is amazing. This trailer, there's a lot of this is like old school wackadoo Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Where there's like DeLoreans that turn into airplanes and swim underwater and jetpacks and like all kinds of weird explosions and flying fighter jets and yeah, it's just a wait. Hold on. Okay, yeah, those are okay. Or maybe they aren't. Oh no, yeah, those are DeLoreans. Okay,
are they DeLoreans or are they the car from the Last Starfighter?
Oh, that's interesting. They're not the car from the Last Starfighter, but I was wondering if they were the car from James Bond, but they're going underwater. Anyway, so this all looks amazing. This is a great trailer.
If you are playing Grand Theft Auto Online still, which I'm sure there are many of you that still are, then this is probably a big thing for you. Because
I feel bad that I don't care. I would play if this was a trailer. If this was a trailer for a single player DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5, I would pre-order it. I'd buy it day one that it came out and check it out because I like the world of GTA 5. And if they had all this crazy, if this is like the Ballad of Gay Tony, but for GTA 5, where it's like you're playing as a different character and you're working with what's his name to do this whole thing, sounds great. I have no interest. After playing the heist, I tried playing the online like 4 times, and the one time that we tried to do a stream with the heists, it was okay, but you still have to like work with other people. I don't want to have to get up to a level to be able to do this.
Yeah.
There's just so many barriers in the way between me and actually playing this. I've been interested in some of the GTA Online stuff, but only because it looks cool, and then I remember I have to play it with other people, and I don't like other people. So, I mean, you guys, no, you people listening to this, y'all are all right. Everybody else, nah, man, nah, just nah. I don't know. Is this in any way, shape, or form? Could it get you to play Grand Theft Auto Online?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I will say, to be contrarian, not to you, but to be contrarian to people who love this game.
Sure.
The fact that we're still getting, I think the fact that they're still putting out content for GTA Online is great. I think it's fantastic.
Sure.
I actually do think that's fucking awesome, especially if you're someone who loves Grand Theft Auto Online, because you're still getting new content. And how long has that game fucking been out? It's been out forever. I feel like I played this game when I was in elementary school, and it's still been releasing content for it.
It was released on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And then re-released on the PS4.
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's a lot of fucking content.
Yeah.
I'm really worried that Red Dead 2 is going to have some type of online mode. That's
of course it is.
And
of course it is.
It's going to make me not care.
Well, I think it depends on if there's a third of 20-hour single player game that's great, and then because Red Dead 1 had online, right?
Yeah,
So,
it did.
You know, Red Dead 1 was fine as it was, and then you had the option. And last week, even we had at Credit Suisse International, Strauss Zelnick was saying, like, the secret to doing this microtransaction online service bullshit is you have to give everybody a really good game first. Then you can put that stuff in there and players will gravitate towards it if they like your game enough. And I think he's mostly talking about the way that you could just straight up buy money for GTA 5 if you not interested in doing that stuff. So I'm hoping that because GTA 5 still stands alone as a fully functional $60 video game all by itself.
Yeah,
right?
That's
Without
a good point.
GTA Online. So I'm hoping that they're smart enough not to strangle the golden goose. But speaking of golden geese, that's a bad transition. We got out of nowhere this week, we got a new trailer for Super Hot. And this was Mind Control Delete, a new free expansion that's going to be available for anybody who bought Super Hot when it's done, or it's in Steam Early Access right now, which means that probably you and I are going to play it at some point in the very near future. This is an add-on that adds a roguelike functionality as well as a bunch of new weapons and new rooms and new environments and things like that, which is great because I feel like Super Hot is the sort of game that you could just play forever if you had different environment. Because it's not like the environments in Super Hot where I was like, oh, you know what I really like is that one level that's in an alley as opposed to that level that's in
an office building,
as opposed to that level that's in like a Chinese restaurant or whatever. So if you can give me a bunch of semi-randomized environments and then put a bunch of guys in them, I'll play a lot of Super Hot.
Yeah.
I love me some Super Hot, John. I'm sorry.
I know.
Super Hot. I don't know. This is going to be $11 on the PC, or you get it for free. Would you pay $11 for Super Hot Mind Control Delete?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeff, I don't think you realize how many times I've already bought Super Hot.
Oh, yeah?
I own it on PC.
Okay.
I own it on my Xbox One.
Sure.
I own it on PlayStation 4.
Oh. Both.
I don't own it on VR yet, but I'm gonna.
Oh, man. It's great on VR.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite VR games.
I also own the motherfucking card game.
Oh, jeez. Okay. You've gone down that. But wait, don't you own the Bloodborne card game?
I do own that, too.
You never even beat Bloodborne.
I haven't even played the Bloodborne card game yet. I own it. I just haven't played it.
Okay.
Because I haven't had people to play it with.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Next up on the hit parade, we have a new trailer for The Atom in Injustice 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. It's mostly trailers this week. It's pretty much
all trailers.
It's pretty much all trailers. You know what? This looks real fun.
It's Ryan Choi, not Ray Palmer, because in the Injustice universe, I think Ray Palmer is believed to be dead. Which is actually pulling from a storyline from the comics where Ryan Choi became the Atom.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Like, I actually like the way he looks. He grows and like he gets smaller and grows back to being normal size. He enlarges people and makes them tiny, and then.
Yeah, I like the way that it seems like his duck is just him shrinking a little bit. I like the getting super tiny attacks that he does.
Yeah,
He seems to have a lot of special moves, though.
Yeah. I do wonder about him being super tiny. If that could be because I mean it's going to also make his hitbox tiny as well. So. Yep. If that would end up being a problem in actual,
I think it's just gonna be a time. I mean, it would be like
it'd probably be like his like special like little timer ability.
Yeah, it seems like he could do stuff. I do like the fact that it looks like there's a throw where he jumps into the person's ear or something and fucks them up, and then they get pulled out of their ear. I don't know. Everything about this looks really fun. I have to stress that. I love to be able to bring up. I love the fact that we live in a world where Injustice 2 exists, John, because Injustice 2 is what I feel is a solid $60 game with add-on content that's totally worth the money. And also, it's got loot boxes, but I don't care because I just don't ever buy them. I'm cool with just playing the game and earning mother boxes through the towers or, instead of buying them, etc.
And also, motherfucking Ninja Turtles and Hellboy.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you not been on here since we talked about that?
No, I think I have.
Okay.
I don't know. But I'm just saying, motherfucking Ninja Turtles and Hellboy.
I played some Ninja Turtles. Or no, some Hellboy. I played some Hellboy.
I played Hellboy too.
No.
I actually played a lot of him. I actually leveled him up pretty well.
Cool. Next up, I don't know where this came from. It's a very strange thing in the world. Apparently, there's a Portal bridge constructor game.
Yeah.
With like GLaDOS and the turrets, and this looks like I played one of these with Joe a long time ago, where like the whole thing is that you're going to have a car that moves in one direction, and then you've got to build a bridge that will sustain it, and it's just kind of a little engineering like kind of puzzle game. But with GLaDOS in Aperture Science, I'm such a junkie for Portal that I'm almost willing to play this, even though it's not Valve. It's from I don't know. It's from this other company called Head Up, and it says it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, Steam, also the App Store and Google Play. So it's probably not going to be a very in-depth game, as I don't think you would be able to exist as much on those things. But it's just such a weird thing. I mean, we don't have any Half-Life. We don't have any Portals, any Left 4 Deads. We got Portal Bridge Constructor. It's just weird to me. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Anyway, let's go back to something that I do understand, even though if nobody else does, and that's we got the opening cinematic for Dissidia, Final Fantasy NT, coming to next-gen consoles. This was an arcade game in Japan that is now coming over to consoles, and it's like January 28th or 30th or something like that. John, what do you make of this? What do you make of this opening cinematic?
It's a lot of Final Fantasy characters doing stuff.
It's a lot of Final Fantasy characters jumping around
and like doing special moves.
Yeah,
and
like attacking each other.
And it, if you were to ask me what type of game is this just based on the trailer, I'd say it's a fighting game.
It is a fighting game.
And see, I'd be right.
It's one of those one-on-one Japanese kind of like Dragon Ball or Naruto games, except that everybody like levels up and you can unlock different stuff. I really enjoyed the Dissidia games on the PSP, and I enjoyed what I saw of the arcade game. I'm actually really looking forward to playing this because Dissidia on the PSP was a game that I put a lot of time into. So I don't know why it works for me. Like, I can see if anybody watched this trailer and was like, this looks fucking stupid, I would totally understand.
No, it looks like a good trailer.
Yeah. But it also, anybody who's not a big fan of Final Fantasy, I could totally understand because half of the people that are in here, I don't know.
Yeah, and they're moving so fast. It's like, I don't.
Like Bartz or like, Golbez or, some of the more obscure characters from the different games I could understand. Like the fact that there was a scene in there where the little lady like puts out a fireball. She's like a mage from Final Fantasy 11 that is the representative of Final Fantasy 11 in this game. So, it's a little strange. Anyway, from there, we're going to move on. There was Atlas has finally confirmed that Dragon's Crown Pro is coming to the States, a thing which I feel like is a very badly kept secret. We've known about Dragon's Crown Pro for a long time. This looks to just be straight up Dragon's Crown, but in like 4K. And yeah, if you've never played Dragon's Crown, I know that every time this comes up, I basically endorse it. I think Dragon's Crown's a really fun game, as long as the completely or like half naked Amazon or like completely boobed out sorceress doesn't rankle you. As a game, I feel like I like it. I can understand though anybody who
is turned off by the art style.
Yeah, well, I say not because I think the art style is actually kind of universally beautiful.
Yeah,
it's just
is.
that this person has a real like does there are a lot of like boobtastic ladies, and that's not even for anybody who's actually played the game. There's a ton of like subquests in this game that come from an NPC, and that NPC is just a picture of a woman like injured on the ground, like with a heaving bosom, So, like, if you think that you can get over the Valkyrie and the sorceress, and that is about your limit, there's a ton more of that kind of cheesecake fantasy weirdness in here. But if you don't mind that, I think it's a really fun game, and it's worth getting a re-release. And then I think this is the last of our trailers. Reigns, Her Majesty, the launch trailer for the new expansion of Reigns. John had actually never played Reigns before.
I don't know what this is. Yeah.
I played it. This actually is on Steam with Elliot, and I played it. The one and only time that Elliot from over at Inside the Locker has been on Rage Select was a Patreon video where we played Reigns. This is a perfect phone game, in my opinion, because you just swipe left or right, and it changes the world, and it's got a kind of a little strategy to it. And apparently, instead of being the king in this expansion, you get to be the queen. And it looks like there's some new stuff that you can do. I think it's a real charming trailer. It kind of shows just all the things that the queen is doing reflected in the world, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is them old Devolver boys doing stuff. All right, from there we actually had a little bit of strange news this week. I'm going to skip some of this because we're already close to our limit. Nintendo revealed. So last week we had a report that there's going to be a new Super Mario Brothers cereal.
Yes.
And that cereal box is going to be an amiibo.
Yes.
And the question is, what does that amiibo do? And the answer is not super interesting.
It gets you like coins or something.
Yeah, it's going to unlock gold coins or a heart, which I think that they've missed a terrible opportunity to unlock the ability for Mario to wear the cereal box on his head like a hat with Cappy's eyes on the front of it, and then you can throw the cereal box at people. It doesn't have to do anything. I just think that, there's so many of these amiibo functionalities, John, that are just like, gets you extra health, gets you extra lives, or gets you extra money in the game, that, I don't know. I feel like there's more creative things you could do than just like buy this cereal, put hearts in game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Especially considering there's already a shitload of coins and hearts in the game.
That box should totally do stuff in other games.
What does it do in Skyrim?
I don't know.
Yeah, just putting that
Mario's clothes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they've kind of missed an opportunity to do something a little cheeky, but whatever. You want to do it, whatever. Also in Nintendo news, this is a weird one. Apparently Nintendo in China is partnering with NVIDIA to put Wii and GameCube games on the NVIDIA Shield in China.
Yes. So part of this is because for a long time, China actually had a ban on foreign consoles.
Okay.
So no one could bring a console to, like Microsoft couldn't bring a console to China. Japan, Nintendo could not release a console in China.
Right.
So it was like no one had a foothold there. That recently has been that ban has been removed within the last, I think, couple of years. And so a lot of companies have been trying to figure out how to get into China, because there are also apparently restrictions with doing it. Like it's not like Microsoft or Nintendo can just release, like Nintendo apparently can't just release the Switch in China. It has to meet certain regulations and certain things, and apparently NVIDIA just got the fucking approval from them to do it.
Interesting.
So the theory is that the reason NVIDIA is also working with Nintendo for the hardware that's in the Switch is because this was part of the deal, is that Nintendo would give them content so that they could release the content for the Shield.
Yeah. For me, I'm just interested in it's kind of weird to me, because I would really like the ability to play, and this is for the set top box NVIDIA Shield.
Yes. It's essentially like a Roku or an Amazon Fire TV box, or
right. Well, but apparently it's got enough to play. It's got enough oomph to play Paragon.
Yeah. It's the Shield is a pretty powerful, like it's not powerful as in like it probably can't play like the newest games that just got released or whatever, but I mean it can play games at 1080p. It can
play The Witcher, it can play Contrast. I don't know. So the thing that's a little weird to me about this is that, boy, I would kill if I could play some GameCube games, if I could just go buy some GameCube games to play on my PC. Like, I would love to be able to do that. And it's kind of weird to me that this partnership ends up giving China something that I can't get, which is the ability. I mean, I thought they were even going to put out GameCube games on the Switch that you could play.
That was the rumor. But, so, I mean, this is possible that this could just be, we're going to be getting those games on the Switch sometime soon. This would be the first step for it.
Come on, Eternal Darkness. Go, Eternal Darkness. Okay. Also, Twin Snakes. I don't know what GameCube game do you want? Ooh, Killer 7. You can play Killer 7 again. That game is terrible, but I really want to play it again.
Eternal Darkness is probably a big one. I would love to play the Wii Punch Out game again.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as far as like GameCube, like you said, Eternal Darkness, Mario Galaxy,
Rogue Squadron,
Super Mario Sunshine,
some RE4.
RE4, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a weird one, and I hope that it is a forerunner. It's kind of strange to.
Yeah,
it's a weird vector.
I don't think you're going to see Nintendo games on Steam. I don't think you're ever going to see that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's weird to me that they can't figure something out. Like, Nintendo is so restrictive, and I understand why they've done this, because it's really their only avenue to trying to sell some of their games in another market, which is, that's fine, whatever. It's just, it ends up with a weird thing where you can do a thing in China. Like, if I could,
but that's only because of the restrictions that China has for game makers.
Sure, I guess.
And here's something I will bring up, because this is something that just popped in my head.
Okay,
you're kind of saying, well, I wish something could happen so I could play my Nintendo games on my PC through Steam or through some type of Nintendo app. Yet you criticize Microsoft for releasing their Xbox One games also on PC, saying, why would anyone buy an Xbox One?
Oh yes, but the difference here is that I want to play GameCube games, because that's the only. I mean, GameCube and Wii era games. I don't think that Nintendo. I think that Nintendo would be foolish to put Breath of the Wild on the PC, even though they probably could make quite a bit of money doing that. But I think that, I don't know. It's just interesting because there's not an equivalent for what this is here.
Yeah,
there's no place for me to buy GameCube games and then play them. It's a thing that's supposed to be coming to the Switch, but for all the things the Switch has done, it's mostly outside of the indies and the Nintendo stuff. It's mostly just a bunch of old Neo Geo games.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree with you.
Anyway, that's all I'm saying. All right. So now we've got a bunch of. It's time for. Let's see, release dates, rumors, and cancellations.
Yes.
I am extremely excitement is become a weird word for me today, because I was just like, I had my pants tickled earlier. But this is actually some pants tickling news to me. So the Korean ratings board, the Korean ratings board, a little thing called Assassin's Creed Rogue HD popped up for rating. There's also some scuttlebutt from an Italian game distributor or something like that a little while back. Italian store listings. I thought that Assassin's Creed Rogue was incredibly interesting.
I never played it,
and I really hope that it gets a release on PC. Or it's already on PC, but I really hope that it gets released on PS4 and Xbox One.
Hell, you put it on Switch,
and maybe even on the PC as an HD version, right? Because on the PC before, it was just the PC version. You could just jack the resolution up, right? Because Assassin's Creed Rogue is a really interesting story that never really got told, and it came out the same year as
Unity
5, I think. Yeah, Unity. And it was so much better of a game. It was expanding the PS4, Assassin's Creed 4 model, and not just that, but it was one of the first games that was about an assassin who sees what the assassins do and decides that he doesn't think that life is for him, and then goes to the Templars. It's really interesting. It seemed to have a really good character, really good thing. I really hope that it comes out, because I think it was a really cool game. I'd rather play that than fucking. I'm done with Origins. It's boring, man. It's like watered down Dark Souls combat and just like pyramid after pyramid, and I don't know. I can only ride camels through so many towns before I start to get just fucking bored.
Okay.
I don't know. Speaking of HD remasters, the Devil May Cry HD remaster is probably getting remastered to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
So if you need a reason to be able to play,
if you ever wanted to remaster your remasters,
which games is this? Is it 1 and 2?
I think it's 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, because 3 is good.
1, 2, and 3 are good.
1 and 3 are good. 2 is awful.
I always thought 4 was terrible. I never played 4.
4 is okay. It's got its ardent defenders. I think that I though think that there are a lot of people who try to make to try not to say that 4 is lazy, but 4 has you basically go in a straight line from the beginning of the map to the midpoint of the map, as Nero, and then you change to Dante, and then you play backwards to the very beginning of the game.
Okay.
And I consider that to be interesting, but still it smacks to me of like, you guys just didn't want to make more levels, right? You just wanted me to backtrack. So, but yeah, if you're looking for a way to get your Devil May Cry on, if that new Ninja Theory Devil May Cry DMC is just, it's gross, it's bad, I don't like it, well, now you can go play your precious Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. Take that. I'm not going to stop poking that sore, motherfuckers. There's probably going to be a new Tomb Raider announcement thing-ish game in announced in 2018 by Square. They basically put out a weird message on the Tomb Raider Twitter that just says, Square is excited to share some big news with you next year. Honestly, we wish we could share it with you right now, but we're taking a new approach this time. A new Tomb Raider game is coming, driven by our goal of putting our fans first. We want you to know that it won't be very long between the official reveal and when you can play the game. Our journey together will begin the major event in 2018. We simply can't wait to take you on Lara Croft's defining adventure.
Oh, shit.
What?
E3.
Announced
the next Tomb Raider game. Available that day.
It's playable right now,
and you can download it right now, or you can buy it in stores right now.
I think that it would be interesting. I think it'd be a little weird for Tomb Raider. I'd be like, that would be that sort of thing where you do that kind of like kind of half-hearted clapping. You're just like, okay, no, I can play a Tomb Raider game. No, it's all right. Yeah, then nothing ever comes out around E3. Yeah, I can play a Tomb Raider game right now. Like, it wouldn't just be like, oh.
I just want it on record so that if it does actually happen, I called it.
Okay. So the record has been amended to reflect John Sitton's E3 prediction. All I can think of was description. I couldn't think of the word. Speaking of next year, Far Cry 5 and The Crew 2 have both been delayed, which kind of sucks because Ubisoft has had a kind of a blurred year.
Yeah.
I mean, what else come out this year? Assassin's Creed,
Mario plus Rabbids.
There's got to be stuff that came out earlier. It's Fractured But Whole.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a weird year for their E3 was a little like. I mean, Mario plus Rabbids ended up being a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, but like, yeah. Anyway, so previously. February 27th for Far Cry 5 is now March 27th, and The Crew 2 is the first half of the 2018-2019 fiscal year instead of March 16th, which means it's being pushed way back.
So for Far Cry 5, they're delaying it a month.
Yeah.
So
January, February, March. Yeah. Still, I've been more interested in Far Cry than I have in a lot of the other stuff that's come out. So
hopefully it's a good things come to those who wait.
I suppose.
Situation for Far Cry 5, because I could care less about The Crew 2.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of things that come to those who wait, you know how Final Fantasy 15 is sticking its dick into every video game this year?
Yeah.
And how it's getting other games are sticking their dick. It's just a big orgy with Final Fantasy 15. Well, apparently there's a tease out that you're going to be able to ride chocobos in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, shit.
Why?
Well, there was the Assassin's Festival in...
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know why Final Fantasy 15 and Assassin's Creed have such a hard-on for each other, but it's weird because they're that whole Festival of the Assassin bullshit, and like, I don't know. It's weird. But then, Noctis is showing up in Tekken.
Yeah.
He's in Tekken now?
Yeah.
Or he's going to be in Tekken? It's like, why? Why? What? Who? I feel like Final Fantasy, Square Enix is trying so hard to make Final Fantasy. I've never seen them try this hard to make one of their Final Fantasy games a thing before.
Well, I also feel like this Final Fantasy game, they may have overspent on it in development, and they're trying to recoup as much as possible by just, fucking whoring it out everywhere.
Maybe. Well, speaking of games that don't need to whore themselves out everywhere to make money, Overwatch is Winter Wonderland is coming back on December 12th.
Yes.
So
I'm excited.
Yep. By the time you hear this, it'll be a couple days left.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do a holiday stream. Maybe we'll give the folks a nice stream for the holidays. One more stream this year or something like that. But. And then last but not least, I always like to end with a bang. We have been agonizing for a long time over who is going to play Detective Pikachu. Who will it be?
Will it be Danny DeVito?
Will it be Danny DeVito?
Will it be Terry Crews?
We want it to be Danny DeVito. Will it be Dwayne The Rock Johnson? No, it will not be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Will it be Danny DeVito? It should be Danny DeVito. We've already seen that trailer with a dubbed-in Danny DeVito. It's not Danny DeVito. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
it's not. It's not.
But the good news is that it is Ryan Reynolds. So which is good because I feel like poor Ryan Reynolds had a while there where he just couldn't get it together, and I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds seems to be doing well. I don't know. Now, if only there was a really sweary Deadpool version of Pikachu, that would be pretty cool. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And this break may be a little bit longer because we're going to go and try to catch up on some other trailers. John, you're keeping an eye out. Is that thing still going on?
It's going through a live orchestra thing where they're playing video game music.
Okay, all right. They're doing
right now. They're doing that "Jump Up Superstar" song from Mario Odyssey.
Oh, I love that song.
Which that song is amazing. I bought it on iTunes.
Hell yeah! Let's go listen to this song. We'll be right back. We're back. And yes, I was right in that I asked for a bunch of questions, and we're probably not going to get to read them because we have another 5 or so trailers. We're going to get to a few before we're totally done here, but it's also really late today. We had some snow in Austin. It's kind of delayed, blah, 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 blah. These are all excuses to get to talking to the video games already. John,
that's what I keep saying.
Is what I hear you say. It's funny. This next trailer that we saw, I was a little bit like kind of hesitant because this was called Witchfire, and at the very beginning, it was very kind of like atmospheric, walking through this forest with all this magic. But I absolutely love the turn that this takes.
Yeah, because it starts off, you're walking through this magic, you're walking through like this, almost like a mausoleum type of thing.
Yeah, like
and
a
then
graveyard.
It gives a graveyard, and then it says, from the creators of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which anybody who's played that, you're kind of walking around discovering memories of
kind of solving a mystery of what's happened. And then all this sand
and then
comes
like
up.
sand comes up, and like all this, like the atmosphere changes, and like this creature moves, and then suddenly your character pulls out a shotgun.
Yep, and then it says, but also Painkiller and Bulletstorm, and then it's just like blasted on like these kind of
it's
revenants,
like dodging around and shooting guns and like causing things to fly up in the air.
Oh, it looks so good! It looks really fun.
Looks fun.
It looks like kind of Bulletstorm meets Painkiller, honestly.
Yeah.
Like blasting a bunch of kind of like zombies, skeletons, like guys with old like Crusader looking people with some crazy like fucking witch hunter guns and stuff. It looks cool. I don't know.
It looks like they took the elements of Bulletstorm and just shoved it in the Dark Souls universe.
I mean, like there's a dodge. There's this weird dodge that you see. There's some powers.
I'm sure there's a stamina bar somewhere.
I like games that aren't just Dark Souls. All right, I think I proved that.
I think they would. That Jeff guy really liked Bulletstorm.
Yeah.
And he also really likes Dark Souls.
Oh, man.
What if?
Oh, man.
I bet you we could sell him at least 4 copies.
I buy it at least 4 times. It looks really good.
It looks fun.
If you guys haven't if you're just like listening to our wrap up on this, I would recommend you go watch this one because it's a fun trailer. I'm actually really glad that we managed to come back here because there were a couple more trailers that were really interesting. There was another trailer for A Way Out, which is the game from the brothers.
Yeah, I think it's the developer of the Brothers.
And it's kind of the 1970s, like 2 characters escape from prison and they're kind of going around doing stuff. There was one really interesting thing here is that when the developer is talking about it, he talks about how you can play on the couch or online.
Yeah.
And I remember at E3, he was very emphatic about this is a couch co-op game.
Yeah.
You need to play this with your friends on the couch. Because we talked about like how that's going to limit the audience to, people who play games that are maybe by themselves or aren't interested in playing co-op are not going to be able to play
Maybe
this
that's
game.
something that they heard and they looked into it.
Yeah.
And they made it work.
Yep. Because, I mean, when I looked at it, the interesting thing about this game, I actually listened to this guy a lot on a lot of the other people's E3 wrap-up podcasts, is that apparently, like, this game is just, he's developed so many different things, and then there are mechanics that get used, like, one time and then just never come back. So it'll be a small mechanic that's used for, like, fishing, and then you just fish for a minute, and then you never fish again in the game. So it's not like a normal game where you, like, learn the mechanics and go through it. It's like this weird adventure game where you have all these different mechanics that keep coming up and then having the 2 characters interact together. I still think this game looks really interesting.
Yeah, it does. It does. I want to play it.
I like the style of it. I kind of like the way that the characters are very fluid. I do, though, wonder if how it's going to be, if you're playing online with somebody else. I wonder if it'll be like a journey situation where you can't calm them, you can't say anything to them. You just use like in-game, like a Dark Souls gesture system instead of talking to them, because I feel like the game could get real fucked up if you have to listen to if you connect to somebody else's game and then they're just a jabbering fucking wreck of a human being. So.
Yeah, that would be fucking terrible.
I agree. It's strange to me still, John, that the PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is so big, because we played it that one time and I never really went back to it.
Yeah.
But
it's big. It's gotten huge. I mean, what was the rumor that there was not a rumor. It was recently revealed that Microsoft actually took the studio that made Gears of War 4 and basically said, "You guys work with the PlayerUnknown people and get this ported to the Xbox One."
Yeah.
So like Microsoft actually diverted an entire developer to help get this on the Xbox One, because they knew how important that would be.
As well they should. I mean, it's gigantic right now.
Yeah.
So there was a trailer here that showed PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds looking better than I've ever seen it look, because I always play it on low. And then also the new desert map. So it looks kind of Fallout-y, kind of wastelandy. A lot of stuff, I think the worry on a desert map is that there's going to be too much like big flat wide open spaces.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of cool if there's enough vehicles to compensate, and you kind of end up with your like Mad Max style chasing people through the desert. That could be fun. Not that I'll probably end up playing PUBG again.
Not gonna get that winner chicken dinner.
I never won. I really enjoyed myself playing the game. I played it with Brian Brushwood briefly, because him and Murphy and them were all into it.
Yeah.
And when you could get in it with a squad.
Yeah.
And I watched my friend play it a little bit. My friend who has turned me on to a few games over my lifetime. He sits at home. He has this 4K monitor and an HTC Vive and this fucking blasting PC, and he plays PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds on low so that the unoptimized nature doesn't fuck with his setup or his drop rate. He's got Google Fiber. He's got a 4K monitor and a monster PC, and all he does is play PlayerUnknown Battleground. And I watched him play it, and I'd never played it. You and I never played it when they had the grouping, right?
Yeah,
when you put you in a group
no, it
by
didn't
default.
have grouping.
It's a daunting game.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm super interested, but this looks pretty cool. And the fact that it went from being released this year to a thing that's on, a trailer on a show that has things like Death Stranding and Bayonetta 3 and like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing for that guy. Next up, I don't really know how to feel about this one. GTFO is a game from the makers of Painkiller 1 or Payday 1 and 2, and I mean it just looks like space dead. What's that, Valve?
Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead looks like space Left 4 Dead basically. Yeah. 4 players kind of working together with guns, and then it's like space zombies.
Yeah, something like that.
Not even aliens, but space zombies.
Yeah. Well, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, this developer after Payday 2 released a game called The Raid World War II.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And it apparently was so terrible that it got the servers got shut down and the game got recalled.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember hearing about it and hearing not the best stuff about it, but I feel like I didn't know that it got shut down. So
yeah, or maybe it didn't get shut down, but I know the games got recalled.
Okay,
like especially on consoles, because it wasn't good.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this just looks kind of like horde mode, traps, setting up, surviving hordes of zombies, and I don't know. I mean, I hate to be like blasé about it, but I mean, there's just I don't know. As from the World War Z, there's still people out there who probably like zombies, but I'm kind of all zombied out at this point in my gaming career. I mean, give it a little bit of time.
This is in space.
I do like space, and there is a part of me that kind of likes the.
And you're trying to break into the mine vault
or something.
So it's like a heist in space.
Also,
with space zombies.
GTFO. I don't like it when developers try to be cute like that. Like what was that? RLH. Was like the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, that Run Like Hell game or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. This one isn't really doing a whole lot for me, but whatever. I'll tell you what else never does a single thing for me, and that's this Dreams game that I feel like we've been watching footage of since.
Oh God! Since the launch of the fucking
PS4,
yeah.
I feel like it was on the PS3 at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, but like this is Media Molecules. No, wait, because there was a Little Big Planet on the PS4. Was there a Little Big Planet on the PS4?
I don't think so.
I thought there was. Anyway, whatever. This is Media Molecules' whole kind of like taking Little Big Planet to the next level of letting you rig up and create kind of 3D puppets and then make your own games. I think part of it is that what you can use the PS Move controller, right, as like a way to.
Well, I think you can also use it in VR. I think it's also a VR game.
Okay. All I know is that this thing has been in development, and they have some honestly good-looking trailers, but like, I'm not interested in hearing about this game again until it comes out, basically. I mean, I guess I got to keep reminding people that the game exists, but because it looks cool. Like, I like the look of it, the kind of weird painterly way that things are sculpted.
Well, it's like I'm interested because, I mean, Little Big Planet allowed you to do a lot of stuff, like surprisingly like a lot of stuff. And this seems like it, like you said, it's kind of to the next level.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they even show all the different types of things you can make, and like no one thing looks like the other things.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the dreamy kind of atmosphere that everything has. And it just looks like you could literally go in here and make your own game.
I think that's true. I guess I'm a little tired of that from Media Molecule of like, I get weird about that idea of, hey, you, person who likes to play video games, don't you want to make your own game? And it's like, no, not really. It'd almost be like if they put out put out a movie and then they were just like, and you go finish it. You film the rest of it. And I'm like, no, I want you to tell me. I don't know. I get a little pissy about games that want me to make games where I'm just like, you make the game. I paid for this. You make the game. That's the agreement. That's how this shit works. And last but not least, we had, this says actually, this is probably just mislabeled from the person who did this upload, the Metro Exodus, and then it says world premiere trailer. But we had a trailer for Metro at E3.
Well, I don't think it was a trailer. It was a demo, if I remember correctly. It was like a stage demo. This is the first actual trailer, though.
Okay, the distinction is somewhat lost on me, or the distinction seems somewhat pedantic on the part of the developer.
It's a technicality.
Yeah.
It's totally a technicality on that, but.
So
looks like Metro.
Looks a lot like Metro. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have any feelings about the Metro franchise?
Nah, I never really played them.
I played the second one, Last Light, and I liked it well enough. I liked it well enough to finish it. I've never really been interested in going back, and I never played the other one when they put out the 2-pack. I never went back to the first game because I heard that the economy in the first game is really difficult.
I just never played any of them.
Yeah. This looks really nice. I'm always a fan. I like it. I like the way over the last few years, John, that we've seen like Eastern European developers start to do really interesting stuff, like CD Projekt Red and stuff like that. That it's not all like English and French developers. It's not just Ubisoft that we're seeing stuff. Because I feel like a few years, or like when the original Stalker came out, like Stalker was kind of ugly. Like again, it seemed like the tools weren't really either available or the expertise wasn't there, but like this looks as good as anything.
Yeah.
This is as good as any of the other games outside of maybe some of the
I agree totally.
Stuff. Yeah, but like it's got a high fidelity to it. It looks nice. I don't know. I'm interested in playing it.
Me too.
So all right, let's see what we got going on here. We got about caught a little bit more than 30 minutes left. We're probably going to do a little bit shorter this week just because we're all real pressed for time. I do have some questions. To the people who all sent in questions, I'm going to keep all your questions. And we will come back to them over the next few weeks because we always get too many questions. So, but I had a number pulled up from previous weeks, so we're just going to probably run through those.
Let's do it.
And then we'll get going. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address, and our first question this week comes from Jay. Jay says, "Hi, Jeff and John. I just had a really shitty video game experience, and I would like your comments and advice. So I work with adults who have autism. A big part of my job is protecting my clients from some of the worst parts of day-to-day life. They're vulnerable adults who can be easily taken advantage of. One of the clients is a massive gamer, however, is not allowed on the internet. They've recently bought a PS4 with Call of Duty World War II. They were super excited to play it, and I was helping them set it up. After an hour of updates off the disc, we managed to get to the title screen, only to be told that we need a PSN account for a further update. I'm not allowed to connect them to the internet for an update, so they essentially bought a 250-pound paperweight, and that's or euros. I'm not sure which one that is. In the end, I took their console home and updated it for them. This has caused a huge level of anxiety for them, which can be a big problem. I cannot explain to them why their new toy does not work right. Anyway, am I an old man, 30? But is this not horse shit? Why can games no longer work out of the box? Thanks for the great entertainment day in and day out. Love the site. Wish I could donate, but I'm getting married soon, and that shit is expensive.
Hell
Thanks,
yeah, it is.
Jay. Jay makes a good point. I feel like a lot of times we take it for granted just because we don't really have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Is that those of us who want to play video games, we don't really get to choose whether we want to have an internet connection or not because it's just, just the way it is. Like, I don't know. Do you have any strong feelings about this one way or the other?
I mean, as someone who has to deal with people in my day job that is very similar to what he's describing, I feel for you. I totally do. It sucks. I do agree with you. I feel like if I get a game, the single-player portion of that game should be playable, accessible, and not require any updates to be able to play it in an offline mode. Simple as that. Like, I feel like any game that has a single-player component, I don't care if it has multiplayer. If it has multiplayer, that's great. But I should be able to access that single-player portion without an internet connection. And unfortunately, due to the nature of video games and the way they are now, a lot of those games will tell you, no, you can't access it without an internet connection.
Yeah.
Which I think is stupid. That's just my personal feelings. And I agree with, I feel for people that encounter this now. I don't have a lot of these problems because I have internet connection everywhere I go.
Right.
Nowadays. So it's not an issue for me, but I still agree with it because there was that time frame where I moved and there was a solid 2 months where I had no internet.
That's true. I remember.
I had to actually take my game console to my job to connect it to their network so that I could download certain things or bring it over here to Jeff's so I could download certain things while we were doing like recording or whatnot because I couldn't play certain games.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even like, oh, this game's only downloadable. I really want to play it, man. I gotta download it. It was I bought this game out of the box and it told me, hey, this game needs a patch.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually have I have a bit of a solution, but it's maybe slightly different. So
I don't know if it's a solution. I wasn't providing a solution. I'm just saying I agree with them.
No, there's two things that I can think of. So I'll tell you, Jay, one of the biggest things that I have a problem with is I buy, as you guys know, a lot of new games every week. So, I go to the GameStop, buy those games, bring them home, put them in my console, and a lot of times, for at least the first game, I'm getting them back into my house with maybe an hour or two before a person's going to come over and I need to record with them. Or like in the case of when Brian Brushwood and I played L.A. Noire, right? I went to the store that afternoon, about 90 minutes before he was going to come over, bought L.A. Noire, and then brought it home and put it in, and it was like, this needs a 15 gig download update.
Yeah.
And now, fortunately, that game launched without it, but it did nag me every time at the loading screen for it. So what I have constantly wished for, and I feel like this could solve your problem as well, Jay, is the ability to say, hey, like on the PlayStation, to go, hey, Sony, I'm going to buy, I'm trying to think of something that's going to, let's just pick a thing that's already out. I'm going to buy Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, right? Is there a day one patch? please let me download that now. Like, I don't want to download the game, but I want to download the patch so that when I get that game, I can put it in, patch it, bam, good to go. Because I hate having to wait. A lot of times the games we play here are unpatched because it has some garbage patch that's going to take like 4 hours to download, and I don't have that time.
Well, and what this person is saying is the person doesn't have internet.
Sure. And so what I'm thinking is, what I would do is take that one step further and say, if you are going to release games in a fashion where they're not finished, where they require a patch, then I think that it would be nice if we could say, download those patches to like a USB key and then plug them into a non-internet system to get the patch.
Yeah.
For me, one of the biggest
that
problems...
would definitely search it for him, because I mean, part of the problem here is the fact that to get that update for that person, he had to take that person's console to his home, which that person was upset because they didn't have their console.
Absolutely. Yep.
So they couldn't even play a different game if they want to, because the console physically wasn't there.
Yep.
So yeah, downloading those patches to like a USB key or something would totally work.
Well, because I think that on the PlayStation, at least, I remember, or I don't know if you can do it on the PS4, but I remember on the PS3, you could download a patch onto a USB key, and you could update, like if you had to do an update for your PlayStation, you could do update via external media. And I feel like a lot of that, because it's weird, a lot of times when I need to get a patch really quickly, I run most of my stuff on Wi-Fi up here in the studio, but if I plug my console directly into my DSL, it's super fast. It's way faster, to the point where I really need to get a network drop put in up here. But I actually noticed that it's one of the things that I will knock Nintendo about, is that there is no way to plug a Switch in. Like, I probably could have gotten that update that I needed for L.A. Noire if I could have plugged it in instead of using Wi-Fi to do the update.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing...
the stand doesn't have a network jack, does it?
It's all Wi-Fi. Which I understand is an ease-of-use thing, and most people use Wi-Fi anyway, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I think
It's a good point, though.
I think that your problem could definitely be solved by allowing people to download those patches, especially for the console. Now, I think I can kind of understand that, like, the console manufacturers probably think that there's a chance of, like, code injection happening if you can download the file and then plug it in and then run that code on the game.
Or people get easier access to that code to dissect it, to figure out a way to pirate,
I mean, this week there was a story about somebody who basically took a Bloodborne and dumped it to the PC and found a bunch of unused assets that were inside of the game.
Yeah.
So, like, this stuff is already happening, whether they want it to or not. But for me, Jay, where your problem leads is the day when the servers that have that patch don't exist, and that game, you put it into your console, and like, if I get to a point where the PS4 is on the internet but Sony no longer, let's say we're in the PlayStation 12 days, right? So it's like, we don't support updates for the PS4 anymore, and then you go to put in, that's one of the weird things about like Battlefront, right? Is you put in Battlefront 2 and you can't get any patches, then you've just got a busted game. Or I've had Ubisoft games where it literally wouldn't let me start the game, like he was talking about, until the patch happened.
And this is something I was thinking about. What are they going to do when they shut down the Destiny 1 servers for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360?
Sure.
Like, that's that there is going to be a point where that game is not playable.
Yeah. Oh, hell, there's, off the disc, Dark Souls 3. There've been a bunch of balance changes and bug fixes and stuff like that happen. Plenty of games do that. So the other thing that I'll put forth there as a potential solution is, the other thing that I feel like people forget is that Sony and Microsoft charge video game companies to submit patches and things like that. There's been news in the past about how, like, there's essentially a submission fee for submitting code that is going to go onto their network for them to review it and make sure that it's okay. And I feel like companies would probably, I don't know if the solution would be to take that down or to move it, or to move that submission fee up so that companies are more, because right now there's just no, it makes more sense financially for Activision to launch Call of Duty on the day when they said they were going to launch it than to delay it by 3 weeks to get all the day one patches onto the disc. That was why Persona, was it Persona, where it was like they backed it up a month because they wanted to make sure that when it launched, it had its day one patch integrated into the disc game instead of a thing you had to download. Which, see, that's very laudable, very laudable. But I don't know. But then also we run up against the question of, do we live in a world where the patch servers will ever go down?
Don't know.
Me neither. All I know is that Jay, that's a real bummer, and it's bullshit. The problem is that that's the way it's been, and that there is no concerted effort of people to. I don't know. I feel like it's a hard one to rally gamers about. Like you have an easier time rallying people against loot boxes.
Well, it's also there's the negatives which we've been talking about, but there's also the positive. It's like the game, something that they didn't know about when the game was released or pressed onto that disc.
Yeah.
You know, a glitch that they weren't aware of, that they did all the QA testing in the world and didn't find this one glitch.
Sure.
And then suddenly they found that glitch. They can update it.
Yeah.
They can fix it. Back in the days of cartridges and the the SNES and the NES and the whatever, when you got a game and it was complete, if that game had a glitch, that glitch was there forever.
Also, those games were significantly less complicated than what we're seeing currently.
So I mean, there's positives to that ability.
Yeah.
And there's also negatives. Like, I mean, let's like I said, it's and also companies can release a patch to completely change a function of a game.
Okay.
To something completely different that because it didn't work because people didn't like it.
Oh, No Man's Sky, perfect example of all the stuff that's been added to it, or what they've talked about doing with Final Fantasy 15 and patching all that stuff in there. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry,
There's
Jay.
positives and negatives to it, unfortunately.
Definitely so. The thing is, Jay, let me make you the very brief case for why it's necessary instead of the opposite case. Let me play devil's advocate here. Skyrim on the PlayStation 3 has a problem where the more you play Skyrim, the bigger the save files get, and the entire game starts to grind to a halt. And it's because the more things that Skyrim is keeping track of you fucking around and moving and putting in a place and setting a gourd in this, I want to put 500 cheese wheels in my house and I'm going to go pick them all up and then dump them out in my house. Is the game has to keep track of all that in a save. And so the save files start to balloon and they get bigger and they get bigger and they get bigger. And then they make the load times get longer and longer and longer, and they make things much more difficult. Now, a lot of people give Bethesda shit for that, and I think that Bethesda does deserve a certain amount of shit for stuff, but there's very little in the way of QA testing that you can do for, here's a build, I need you to check this build for 80 hours before the next build comes out, because technically builds will come out every day. You'll be getting bug fixes in a new build, and you can't do 80 hours of testing for one person in a day. It's just not physically possible, and you can't hold up the development process to try that. Also, even if you had a QA team of 500 people working 24 hours a day, it's hard to envision some of the scenarios that, I mean, back in the old days when I worked on the Star Wars, the first, not the Knights, not the sweater, but the older for the original one, the MMO. Yeah. People would do shit, and you're like, I can't. There's no way. It's like, oh, if I equip and de-equip this one weapon 60 times, then it breaks the weapon, and I'm able to get access to this weird subcode or whatever, right? And it's like, well, who are you going to pay to sit there and equip and unequip every weapon 60 times?
That is what QA testing is. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't realize is, like, they think, oh man, I'm going to be a quality assurance tester, and I'm going to have like it's going to be just like that movie Grandma's Boy or whatever, where it's like no, in that game people were actually like making games. QA testing is legitimately like, hey, on level 3, go into this corner, jump 106 times. Tell us what happens.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's it.
Or for when I was working on Star Wars, one of the things that we would do is whenever there was an update for, I remember like one year we were doing the Wookiee Life Day festival.
Yeah.
And one of the first things you had to do was basically spawn every item of clothing and just put it on every avatar and see if it looked right or if it was fucked up or if there was a thing. In any case, so in a lot of these games that are so complicated, like I feel like Elder Scrolls Skyrim is such a complicated game that there's a lot of things that you're never really going to be able to test fully, such as the 80-hour thing, until they get out in the world, and then you could try to address them after the fact. what you're talking about is different than that because it's a day one patch, but I understand. It's just that, I don't know. I can see both sides of the coin, but I understand your frustration. I think the way to do it would be just to let people download stuff. I mean, you remember when the reason that this was called the Don Mattrick Memorial Podcast was because
Don Mattrick.
Back in the day when we started this up and they were getting ready to release the Xbox One, and somebody asked Don Mattrick what you should do if you didn't have an internet connection, and he said, we have a console for people who don't have an internet connection. It's called the Xbox 360. And everybody was just like, oh, go fuck yourself, Don Mattrick, because the Xbox One was supposed to be online all the time.
Yeah.
Like the Xbox One had launched as it was supposed to. You wouldn't be able to have it, Jay, because it would have to be online all the time.
Yeah. But that's why he doesn't. Probably his friend doesn't have it. He has PS4.
Yeah. But I think that it would be nice if you could manually do some updates. That's all I'm saying. A lot of these are much shorter questions. So Cameron says, hey, Mr. Jeff and Mr. John, first time writing in. My question is a maybe easy one, but what is your favorite album of all time? And did that album introduce you to your favorite music genre? My favorite album of all time is No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls, and it introduced me to pop punk. Keep up the awesome work and keep on kicking ass, Cameron. Do you have a favorite album of all time, John?
Less Than Jake's Hello Rockview.
Okay, and why?
It's just I listened to ska before that, but it's just the one that I keep going back to.
Okay,
that like in all honesty, all of Less Than Jake's albums are probably they're my favorite band of all time, but I think that one is kind of the one that kind of solidified them as a band for me, and that's the one I keep going back to. And when I think of that band, that's the album I think of. Despite how much better later albums are.
Yeah.
But it's like it really is my favorite album of all time, probably.
Okay. Boy howdy,
solid album beginning to end.
It's funny. I'd love to say, Cameron, that something like Abbey Road by the Beatles would probably be way up there, but to be honest, the album that I've probably listened to more than any other album is Flood by the MMP Giants.
Okay, it's a good album.
I was turned on to them after the Tiny Toons did Particle Man and Istanbul, Not Constantinople on their Tiny Toons, which are great. You should go look those up if you've never seen them before.
They're great. Yeah.
And I was like, who are these gentlemen? And then I started listening to that album, and I was happy. I had a Discman or a Walkman, a tape Walkman that was one of those ones that would flip to the other side.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to just listen to it and then just let it and then it would start up again. And then I had a friend who had a friend who was like one of the only other people I knew who was super into the MLB Giants, and he was like, if you like Flood, you should listen to Apollo 18. And I did, and I loved it. And that began, I just listened to all of their albums, and I really liked them. In the recent years, I've throttled back a little bit because they've gone in a direction that I'm not. They started to get older, and they're really into making music that kids can listen to.
Well, they're also school teachers.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, their day jobs is they're elementary school teachers.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But
or at least one of them is.
Because there was a time when they might be Giants, a lot of their stuff had a kind of a weird, dark edge to it.
But they were all learning things. That was the weird thing about it, is they all had they were all knowledgeable in some way. They were teaching a fact. It's just they had a dark edge, like you said. Like
some of them, there's stuff that I don't know. But I've also seen them in concert a number of times. They're probably my favorite band. Even though I don't know if I would call them my favorite band anymore, but they definitely are the band that I've seen the most, that I've listened to the most, probably the band that I like the most. So probably one of my favorite concert of all time is when I saw them at the UT Student Union Ballroom.
Nice.
So it was this giant kind of ornate ballroom, and then they might be Giants, and probably about 150 people. Like from that point on, it's been Stubbs and the giant like festival crowd that goes all the way up to the back of the place. But I saw him a few times back in the factory showroom days when you could get into a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
So
I think Less Than Jake is probably the second band I've seen the most. Mm-hmm. The first being a local band in Houston called 30 Foot Fall.
There used to be a band in Austin called 8 Half Souvenirs that did like swing stuff, and I was totally in love with the lead singer, and went to go see them every single week. So I've seen them more.
Yeah, but Less Than Jake, I've seen them tons of times. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Ryan writes in and says, "Greetings, Jeff and John. Earlier today, I read an article online saying that the toys to life genre is dead. Notable examples of that being Skylanders, Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, and the Amiibos. I myself have invested money into several of those series, and after reading the article, came to the conclusion that all these figures are just physical DLC or microtransactions you purchase at the store. So my question for you is, since you've covered several of these games, do you think they've been a worthwhile investment? Are you glad to see the genre fade away? Thanks in advance, your loyal fan and proud patron, Ryan." John?
So I think Lego Dimensions was a worthwhile investment because those were just Legos.
Okay.
Like, literally, you're just buying Legos. Like, yes, they allow you to play as those characters in the game.
Yeah.
But you're buying Legos. Like, Legos are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And they're totally worthwhile.
Okay.
The other games, I don't know. I never really played them all that much. Like, I never really played Skylanders or you know, the Disney Infinity or whatever. I never really played those, so I can't really speak on those. You know, I've never really even got to like Amiibos for the Nintendo. Though
I've got like two.
Yeah, though I really want a bunch of them now that I have a Switch. Like, for some reason,
didn't I give Amanda the Kirby yarn one?
You gave Amanda the Yoshi yarn one and the Kirby.
Okay, good.
So you've given her two.
Get those the fuck out of my house.
Only two Amiibos that we have in our house, and I've used them both in Mario Odyssey.
Did they do anything?
I think I got hearts from the Yoshi and coins from the Kirby.
Boo. Yoshi's in Mario, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
like,
but also you can like have the Mr. Amiibo thing go search for moons.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can. So essentially, you basically go up to Mr. Amiibo after you've beat a level for the first time.
Yeah.
And you basically tap the Amiibo to it, and he sends that Amiibo off. And then, like, the next time you play the game, like the next day, it will be like, oh, by the way, there's a moon over here on the map.
Oh,
and then so you can go over there and get that moon. It helps you find stuff.
Interesting. So you haven't really had that much experience with it.
I outside of the Dimensions, I've played a lot of the Dimensions because, again, they're fucking Legos.
Yeah, but you're a big old Lego fan,
yes,
right? Like,
I love Legos. Legos are great. The Legos are my happy place. Like, when I'm like super fucking stressed and like just need to decompress, like, giving me a box of Legos is like the best thing ever.
Okay. I could say honestly, Mike, that I hated it. Skylanders was for children. That was not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to be dismissive about it, but like, I had no interest in those characters. I had no real interest in the world or the story. It seemed like a well-made game. I don't want to knock the game itself, but it just was never anything that I was like super, super fascinated in. Disney Infinity was interesting, but that taught me that I don't like those, mostly because the way that it worked was that, like, the game has to be generic enough for you to be able to play it with all the different characters, because you can't expect like, if all I got was the Disney Infinity starter set with the pad and the characters, I would have to be able to play through the game with those characters, right?
Yeah.
There might be levels that I couldn't get to without other characters, but I have to at least be able to beat the game with just the base pack.
Yes.
And what that means is that but then you also have to be able to play. They have to have different powers. It was an interesting concept. It just came off as very generic because the world and the character were disconnected to me because you had to be able to play any character. It's kind of the way that the world in you said that you were playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way that I feel like those Lego games are a little. The Lego games have always had a feeling of disconnect for me between what's going on in the game and the character that you're playing, because you have to be able to play with all those different characters and you're switching between characters, is that you can't link a character to the map that you're on. So it always feels a little bit of a disconnect to me. And not just that, but I have a pet peeve, Mike, about anything that makes me stop focusing on the screen, because I feel like it's immersion breaking. Is the longer that I'm staring at the screen, I'm really into that world, I'm really juicing and diving and doing my stuff, and that forcing me to pull my eyes away to screw around with some plastic figures, especially because where I play it, I was putting the portal on this little stool, and I knocked him over, I got to pick him up off the floor. I don't know. It's just a whole thing, and I wasn't super into it. I will say that, I mean, I still have the Star Wars Infinity things. I actually I gave Aaron all of my Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel stuff because his kid was really into it. And I thought
and you gave Amanda the Princess Leia.
Oh, and I did that too. Yeah, but I've got, I got a little Rey.
All the Games to Life stuff that we have in our house outside of the Lego Dimensions, you gave to Amanda.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Like the Meebos, Princess Leia, and then the Dimensions I got. That's also you gave me that.
I actually really enjoy the Lego Dimension, or the way the little characters look for the Star Wars Disney Infinity. I don't know. It just like, the other thing is that you start to get into a thing where, like, I'm kind of interested in Star Wars for Disney Infinity, and I'm not at all interested in Monsters Incorporated or like the Lone Ranger, which was in Disney Infinity 1.0. So, I'm not really interested in Inside Out, but I am interested in the Millennium Falcon. Yeah. So
I like I said, I the only one I got into was like I said, Lego Dimensions, and I can't stress the fact that I've probably played with those Legos more than I have actually played Lego Dimensions.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to.
I feel like that's the only one that can actually survive the game being shut down, because guess what? Those are still motherfucking Legos.
Yeah, well, that's true,
and I still want them.
You can still play with Legos. Whatever happened to was it last E3 where there was one that was for the Switch, where it was like a spaceship that you attached?
Oh yeah, like, it hadn't come out yet. But
guns and something.
Yeah, it was for the PlayStation 4.
Was it the PS4?
Yeah, because it had a thing where you attach it to your controller.
Oh, to the thing on the front. To the charging port?
It's just you clip it onto your controller. Like, it had a thing where you clip it onto the front of your controller, and then the thing is on there, and you can, like, take weapons off.
That was weird. That was a weird one.
That was last year at E3.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering what the next plastic peripheral phase will be, because we went through our instrument phase, and then we went through our little action figure phase. What's next? All right, let's see. We've got all right. We still got a little bit of time left. I got of the questions I asked. I put out the call for questions, and I got 2 hypotheticals, and I feel like hypotheticals are always fun. So let's go with the hard one first, and then we'll end on an easy note.
Okay.
John. Okay. Daniel writes in and says, "Hello, Jeff and John. I have a hypothetical would you rather scenario for you. Pardon the length, but I thought it would be fun. You ready, John?
I'm ready.
Take some notes. You are locked in a room and cannot leave until you drink one of 2 potions. Would you rather drink? Potion 1. This potion will grant you foreknowledge of future events for as long as you live. It'll grant you 10 times where you can change events, except for ones out of your control, like natural disasters. For example, if you knew a loved one was to die in an accident, you'd be able to prevent it. As a consequence, the more times you use this ability, it will increase your chances to become mentally ill and clinically insane. You cannot prevent this from happening, and once it happens, you cannot recover. Or potion number 2. You will gain the Matrix-like ability to learn anything you want once a month. Want to learn to fly helicopters? Bam, you can. You cannot learn about future events, but you can learn anything else, whether it be practical, silly, or philosophical. As a consequence, you will increase your chances of decreasing your lifespan and getting an unknown fatal disease. There is no cure for this disease, and you cannot learn the ability to defeat it, but you will know that you have it once it hits you. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, I'd probably go for option 2, potion 2.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, in the first one it said like dementia or whatever.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that so I don't know, like potion 1, you can see the future and you can 10 times.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't want to know the future either.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to know the future, and I don't want to possibly get, go crazy because of me trying to change it.
Yeah, but potion 2 dies.
Yeah, but...
Did you see that movie Next with Nicolas Cage where he could see like 10 minutes into the future?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, it was awesome. Jessica Biel and what's her face? Maud Lebowski. So potion number 2 all the way for you.
Yeah, probably potion number 2.
Would you learn stuff?
I don't know, probably.
Would you, I mean, like, what if you learned The secrets of immortality.
No. I mean, I'm not going to try to get around it. I mean, if it happens, it happens, man. I just, I learn when I need to learn when I need to learn it.
John, I feel like every time we get these hypotheticals, you're so practical about these things. It's like, okay, I could learn anything. You cannot learn about future events, but you can learn anything else, whether it be practical, silly, or philosophical. So,
I mean, you know what I would go do?
What's that?
I would go to all of those how many items are in this jar things, and I would learn and win all these contests.
You'd be dead in a month. Every time you use it, it ups your chance of getting the fatal disease.
True.
What do you learn the secret to wealth and then use that?
Oh, I could do that too. Yeah, sure.
You just do that one time. Ooh, you know what I would do is I would learn how to transfer my consciousness into another body, and then I would learn how to perfectly grow a clone body that never ages and has the strength of 100 badgers, and then I would make that body, and then I would put my brain into it as soon as I got the fatal disease, and then like boom, there we go. Brainwaves in the other body. That body could die. Good to go. We're gonna keep going.
But would you still have that power?
That doesn't matter, because at that point, once I learned how to make my brain move and then how to have immortality, then the power can kind of go fuck itself at that point, because I'm an immortal brain swapping vampire.
Okay.
But then at that point, I could just go bug nuts and be like, "What is the secret to making as much money as I want to? What is the secret to winning any combat?" I don't know. This is learning, not the secrets. I guess I've really gone very genie in the lamp with this, but. Yeah, I would learn how to make an infinite amount of money, and I would learn how to seduce the world.
But you're saying you would do the first one, though.
No.
So you're agreeing with me.
I am agreeing with you.
Okay, even though you kind of chastised me for picking it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. I don't know. The first one just doesn't have I'm with you where I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to live with the knowledge of future
I also
events.
don't want to be insane. Like that sounds fucking dementia. That fucking sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I don't know. If you were insane, would you still know what was going to
or whatever
happen?
That just sounds like a fucking mad.
Yeah. I can think of a lot of ways to cheat number 2. So then I'm going to learn how to make a machine that lets me see the future after I do the first 2.
But didn't he say you can't learn the secrets to immortality or something like that?
There is no cure for this disease, and you cannot learn the ability to defeat it. Yeah. I don't think that's... I'm not trying to defeat it. I'm just going to go over there.
You're trying to find a way around it.
I'm gonna move my brain. I'm gonna copy my brain patterns. You can't
onto a floppy disk.
It's a virus in a brain. I'm gonna upload my consciousness into the Matrix and then create myself an android body that has all of the powers of a regular person.
Okay.
Daniel, I will cheat your riddle. I mean, I'm gonna start getting hypotheticals that are like 6 pages long. It's like, also, due to addendum 25, Jeff cannot use his flight abilities to fly into the future. No, I will turn the world backwards, and then time will go backwards. That's how it works. That's how I saw it happen in Superman. All right, and one Uno Mas here. Hannibal, Montana writes in and says, "Dear Jeff and Mr. Sitton, would you rather live on Krull with a lightsaber or live in the Star Wars universe with the glaive? It seems like an easy proposition, but with a new Death Star being built every decade, I'd rather not live in constant fear of annihilation. Plus, the glaive is overrated, in my opinion. Thank you for the great videos and great podcasts. Regards, Hannibal, Montana."
Man, I haven't thought about Krull in like forever.
What does the glaive do?
It's just like a fucking boomerang, isn't it? Like it's like a circular like blade
does it have like
thing
a
you throw.
consciousness?
I
Does
think
it
might
do anything special?
Yeah, I don't really remember.
You hold it up and it shoots like a laser?
No, I think you just throw it.
It's just some shit that you throw?
Yeah, I mean,
it's cool looking. Glaive, Krull. Let's see what...
Yeah, it's just got like blades.
The glaive
on
is a
it.
mystical 5-pointed weapon used by Colwyn and Krull. Colwyn is told by Ynir that it is the only hope to defeat the beast and rescue Lyssa. It is an ancient symbol used by the kings of Krull on a necklace worn by Colwyn's father. Colwyn takes it from a cave high in the mountains and pulls it from the magma. The glaive can cut through solid substances, disperse energy blasts with ease, and is shown to be able to kill slayers in one stroke. The glaive was embedded in the beast's chest after he was slain, and the Black Fortress was pulled into. God, I haven't seen Krull in a long time.
Yeah, I think I have it on DVD.
Yeah. So, but see, here's my problem with this particular thing. Yes, I'd rather have a lightsaber, but the Krull universe sucks nutsack, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just like everything's all fucked up.
So, would you rather have a cool weapon in a shitty universe, or a kind of whatever weapon in a cool universe?
I mean, okay, let's not go off the rails here. The glaive still seems like it's pretty cool. I mean, I would never use it. I would just put it in my pocket and then like go get a job on, Naboo or something. Somewhere that, nothing shit ever happened.
Go to the spice mines of Kessel.
Yeah. Go to Tatooine and free the... we don't really know of any good planets. What's the best planet? Coruscant? Nobody ever blows up Coruscant. I'm not a Jedi. I just go work at Dexter Jettster's stupid 1950s diner, and then on the weekends go buy some death sticks from that guy from The Matrix,
that's totally
and watch robot football at their weird bar where they have the Naboo robot football finals.
Yeah,
nobody ever gets blown up on Coruscant. No, my luck, though, I'd probably get dropped on fucking Dagobah. Ugh, a whole planet that's a swamp? I don't like regular swamps. I don't know. What do you think? Same?
I'd probably Star Wars with the glaive, just because...
the Krull universe seems like garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, what, medieval...
Yeah, it's less to do with which weapon I want and more to do where I want to be.
Yeah. I agree. So, there you go. I hope that you all have learned a lot. I know that I've learned a lot.
I've learned nothing.
This week was great. This was a great week of great trailers. And I'm now... I don't know, John. I got to watch that Death Stranding trailer another 6,000 times, I think. So, all right, bye.